Stop waiting for people to make you feel better. Maybe you're not supposed to feel good about the situation. Ooh, that's tea. In this video, I'm talking to myself. Every video, I'll be talking to myself. And it's a much needed conversation. The key point, the key takeaway, you ask, is stop waiting for people to take accountability. Stop waiting for people to take accountability for their actions. Stop waiting for people to take accountability for things they did to you. Stop waiting for people to take accountability and step up. And this is in regards to a multitude of different people. This can be personal relationships. This can be professional relationships. This can be acquaintances. This could be anything. We have got to stop waiting for people to take accountability for their actions, because you know what that does? It puts you in a victim mindset. And what are we not? We are not victims. We are not victims to anything or anybody in this world. So instead of waiting for someone to take accountability and pausing our progression off the strength of us waiting for their accountability to be taken, we have to move. We have to decide what we're going to take accountability for within ourselves. So for example, you could get out of a relationship or stop talking to a guy or girl you're dating and feel like, oh, I wish they would just take accountability. I wish they would just admit for all the wrongs they did to me. I wish they could just da-da-da-da-da. I wish they would just. Why? Why do you need that? Why do you need that accountability from them? What is it going to do for you? Is it going to set you free? Is it going to change the actions? Is it going to help you? Are you going to have peace about the situation? Or are you going to know based off of your goodness and your heart posture that you have no reason to need accountability from someone who treated you wrong in the first place? I've worked with a large number I've worked with a large number of employers where it's like, I wish they would take accountability. I wish they would do better. I wish they would be stand-up bosses. And you know what all that wishing got me? Nowhere. Except for being trapped in a cycle. Not even trapped, because that's still victim mindset. I was voluntarily stuck in cycles with employers and people that we're not going to change. Sometimes those very things that you're waiting on to happen and waiting on to change are the very things that are just supposed to make you change yourself. What about you feels so dependent on this circumstance? What about you feels like you can't get a new job? What about you feels like you can't find a new person to date? I'm not talking about marriages. We'll get there in another video. But if you are waiting for people to take accountability, maybe those just aren't your people. Right? Maybe those just aren't your people. I was working with people and I'm like, why have I been working with you for 2 years and I'm getting paid the same amount as the people that I'm training that have no experience and aren't doing anything when we're actually working? Why? And I'm like, I want more. I want change. I want this. I want that. Do you think they care? And whether it be because of personal reasons, whether it be because the business genuinely couldn't pay me that much or because of whatever, it's like, it is what it is. So if I want different, if I want change, I have to move. And I want to say unapologetically, but to an extent, it's like, don't just wreak havoc. Don't just be problematic on your exits. But sometimes you gotta change a situation. You have to leave a situation in order to obtain better. So stop waiting for people to take accountability. You hurt my feelings. I want you to take accountability for that. But what if they don't understand how they hurt your feelings? And what if they're just not meant to understand that? What if you're just supposed to know that this is a person who's capable of hurting your feelings, you know? So we're like, if I'm dating somebody, he needs to text me, he needs to respond, he needs this, he needs that. Or you could just set your boundaries and say, if he doesn't fit in this box, then I'm not dating him. He is not worth my time. And again, these are extreme examples, but stop waiting for other people to step up to plate. Stop. If you wait for other people to step up and be something that they are not meant to be, you're going to be waiting on other people your entire life. You're going to be waiting for apologies that you'll never get. You're going to be waiting for raises that may never come. You're going to be waiting for acknowledgement that might not happen, because where you are here living in your own world, these other people are living in their own world the same way you are. So their perception is their perception and your perception is your perception. I read this book called The 4 Agreements. It's an amazing book. I think everybody should read it. Was it The 4 Agreements or was it The Mastery of Love? I've read both of them and sometimes I like blur the 2 books together. So give me a sec. Okay, so I believe that it is The 4 Agreement, but I also think that they do go into depth about this in The Mastery of Love as well. I need to fact check that. I'm gonna read the book and I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know if that's what it is. But either way, the 4 agreements outlined in this book are: be impeccable with your word. So if you say you're gonna do something, do it. Be an honest person. If you don't mean it, don't say it. Things of that nature. Don't take anything personally, because we're all living in our own world. Our perception is very different from each other. My perception is different from your perception. Like, what I see as blue may not be what you see as blue, but it's blue. Like, we just all have these own little worlds in our mind. Don't make assumptions, because again, your perception is your perception and my perception is my perception. And where my line of thought may take me here, your line of thought may take you there. So I can't look at your actions and be like, hey, that just doesn't make any sense to me, because I know if you did X, Y, and Z, that means ABC. But you're like, no, if I did X, Y, and Z, that means X, Y, and Z, not ABC. There's no correlation, because we live in different worlds. Like, we have our own little world in our mind, right? And then always do your best. So I don't know if my fingers are actually being held up correctly, but 4 things: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And I feel like those genuinely, like, if you do it and if you stay in line with it, then when it comes down to other people taking accountability, that's not going to be a problem that you have. Like, it's just going to be I did my best in this situation, and I don't understand where they're coming from. I can't make any assumptions about it, but it is what it is, and I'm not going to take it personally, and I'm going to move in the way I need to move. Whether that's still together or separated, it is what it is. But it's also, to an extent, sometimes like just letting people be who they want to be. You can't force a square into a circle. You can't force a circle into a square, depending on the sizes. You can't do that. So it's just allow people to be who they want to be, so you can see who they truly are, and then go from there. Like, it's not your job to change people. It's not your job to defend your point of view. Like, it's not your job to do all these different things or get someone to take accountability for their actions, because at the end of the day, even if they take accountability, it might be because they just respect you and they're like, yeah, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. But again, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. I'm not sorry that I did it, because it's who I am. I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. I'm sorry that it made you feel low about yourself, or I'm sorry that it made you feel like, you had to fight and tussle with me to get this apology of, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. That's not a real apology. I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Okay. Thank you for letting me know that my feelings are what you're sorry for. But I'm sorry for what I said. I'm sorry for how I acted. I'm sorry for what I did. Those are like genuine apologies. But again, it comes down to expressing yourself in a way that is palatable and going from there. But expecting someone to take accountability, like, let's not let that be something that holds us back, because it'll hold you back. It'll have you in your head wishing, thinking, doubting, questioning, all these things. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they take responsibility. The world doesn't change. It's not making world peace a thing. Like, it doesn't make the world a better place if they take accountability. It just makes you feel better. And your feelings are something that you should be able to sort out independently to an extent. And again, I'm not saying this to say if you're married or if you're, these are different levels. There's different levels to this, because when it comes down to marriage and things of that nature, I think that as a whole, we as a society should do a little bit better about trying to stick it out. Now, I did work in family law, so I get it. As I mentioned earlier, I get it. This is more so like if you're just now starting to date somebody, or if you're talking to somebody, or if you've been going through turmoil in a relationship for however long with somebody, or if, again, the main thing is, for me, employers and people that you work with and people that you feel like do you wrong in the workplace, maybe that discomfort is something you should lean into. Stop waiting for people to make you feel better. Maybe you're not supposed to feel good about the situation. Ooh, that's tea. That's a word. Maybe you're not supposed to feel good about the situation. Maybe you're not supposed to be there. Mind blown. And for me, that's been my circumstance. Honestly, I've held on to jobs and done things of that nature because I felt like, oh, I need to make it work. My parents, they worked in these careers for so many years and and I have to make this path work. And it wasn't working. And trust me, it's not because I'm not a good employee. You could pull up my track record. I don't know why I said it like that, but you could pull up my track record, okay? I don't think I got a boss that would say a bad thing about me. Because one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna do the job. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna do the job. But it's also when it comes down to being a person that's able to adapt and being a person that can do different things and it not be super difficult for them. Sometimes that can be problematic to your ultimate goal and your ultimate purpose. Like if you can get into a job and you can do great, excellent work at your job, you're not gonna be worried about doing your own thing because you're like, I can fit in here and be just fine. So maybe the discomfort and maybe the lack of accountability is supposed to be something bigger than this circumstance. It's supposed to be something bigger than what we're seeing with our eyes, because what do we know? Boom. Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of the world, of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That's a very, 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 very deep verse. And it could go so many different places. Like it could take this conversation in so many different places. But you are waiting for accountability, and that accountability may never come. So now what do you do? How do you move differently? What do you change about the circumstance to make you feel better? Your trauma is not your fault, but healing is your responsibility. That's taking accountability. That's stop waiting for other people to take accountability. Whoever gave you trauma, whoever traumatized you, the apology may never come. What's next? Learn to heal yourself, or you will spend the rest of your life bleeding on people who didn't cut you. Learn to heal yourself, or you will spend the rest of your life bleeding on people who didn't cut you. Woo! Let me tell you something. The way you handle wrongdoings and people treating you wrong, my pastor told me, he didn't tell me directly. I mean, it felt like he did, but he talked about this one sermon, and it was so long ago, but like talking about all this stuff right now is just bringing it to the forefront of my mind. And he was talking about how basically when you don't guard your heart and you get cut, so trauma or wrongdoings or whatever, something that you want someone to take accountability for, and you put a band-aid over the situation, but you never really heal from the situation. Imagine a heart that is scarred up because you were incapable of taking accountability and genuinely healing from the situation. And don't get me wrong, this is not saying take responsibility. This isn't saying it's my fault. It's your fault you're being treated like that. It's your fault that you went through whatever. It's your fault that you had to deal with X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying take the blame for it, but I'm saying take accountability for it. You didn't put the scars on your body, but you need to go to a doctor and have them healed. You need to appropriately and adequately care for these wounds so that they don't bleed into the rest of your life. It is your job to do that, right? You have to heal the fact that, okay, some things went wrong in the last situation, and what red flags did I miss? Or what could I have done differently to help her, like, protect me and keep me from the situation? And how do I not let this bleed on a new relationship, bleed on a new guy that is not doing anything wrong? That's your responsibility. We cannot force people to deal with our trauma. So if that were to be my story and I go into a new relationship and I'm dating a guy and I haven't dealt with my stuff, he's gonna have to deal with it. For us to be transparent, he'll have to deal with it. He'll have to nurture that scar in me. And there will be some people that do it, but honest to God, it's not their responsibility. Like, they don't have to do it. So you should try to just go into stuff healed. That's a great idea. You should try to heal from things that happen so that you can go into new circumstances whole and at peace, knowing that all things are working together for your good. So you don't need to worry, you don't need to stress, you don't need to fret. Boo-boo, it's okay, it's okay. But it's your job. Don't let the baby talk deter you from the main point of this conversation. It is your job to take accountability for healing. No one is going to force you to do it. And it doesn't have to be a hard, long, drawn, thought out process. It can be so simple. Taking accountability for where we are, what we're doing, and how we're healing is a part of life. And it's part of putting your big girl, big boy pants on. We got to do it. Being able to take control of that aspect of your life and understanding that you can take control of so many other aspects of your life, all of it goes hand in hand. But we got to put the victim stuff down. We got to put it down, down, down. We're not a victim. You're not a victim of anyone or anything. If you want change, you have to take accountability for that. You got to stop waiting for people to show up to do the thing that needs to get done. You just got to do it. And you can. Wholeheartedly, you can. I believe in you. I'm still working on taking accountability for things, but we're doing it every day, trying to take more and more accountability. Shameless plug, taking accountability is a lot easier when you know who you taking accountability with. Take accountability with God. Take your healing to God. Pray to God and ask him to heal you and show you how to heal yourself. Ask him to show you the path that you need to take to become whole and to become a childlike spirit with him. You can take your concerns to him and he will help you. He wants to help you. So when I'm saying take accountability, stop waiting for other people to take accountability. Heal yourself. Do this, do that. I am saying a lot of what you can do, but just know that you have someone who is ready to take it all on with you and teach you ways so that you don't have to go through the same things over and over and over again, because you're going to go through the same things over and over and over again. Nobody wants to do that. I'd be tired. I'm serious. The past few years, I've been like, I'm tired. I can't keep doing this. Like, your body will start rejecting it. Your body will start rejecting jobs. Your body will start rejecting partners. Your body will start rejecting friends. Like, the feelings that are within you will start coming out, and it's just gonna be like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I done been through it. I'm not telling y'all anything about anything I have not been through, have not gone through. I was going through craziness as it pertains to work a year ago. I completely understand and I completely get it, but I had to take accountability and I had to start healing the way I needed to heal. And I had to depend on God entirely through the circumstance. And let me tell you something else. When you're going through stuff like that and you depend on God for the healing, you depend on God for the movement, you have to stay in him, because the minute you back up, you're going to feel lost. But you have to keep going. You have to keep the connection strong, and you will get through. You will heal. You will become whole again. You do not have to be broken in this world that we live in. You can be whole, but you have to stay in him and you have to seek him, and he will help you through it all. I know it sounds so cliche because I feel like I just recorded a video and I was like, God, depend on him. He got you. He got you. But like, genuinely, he do. He has you. He wants to hold you in the palm of his hand and make sure everything's okay. You are his child. So if you're incapable of getting the accountability from the people that you want to take accountability for things in this world, just know there's something bigger waiting to take the problems off of your back, waiting to help heal the situation, waiting to help renew your spirit and renew your faith and make you happy again. Not circumstantially, but like genuinely joyful. I hope that this helps you to take a little bit of accountability. We can take baby steps. We can take baby steps for now, and then we'll take big steps later. But start the process. You do not have to wait for anybody else to be a person that you wanted them to be. You don't. You just make sure you're the person you want to be. And when that isn't working with the people that you got in your vicinity, the employers, the guys you're dating, the girls you're dating, the whatever, move, change, figure out what needs to be done. Take accountability for whatever's lacking and go from there. But no more victim. We're not a victim. You're not a victim. I'm not a victim. We're not victims. I love you so much. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.